Few things make me feel as goofy as not knowing how to use the features of a certain item, especially a technology item. That'll humble you. Or the features of the technology, or like an app, app features. So I was going to do a little Instagram story. I say short, but I don't know. I've done these a couple times, and it turns up being like 30 minutes of stories, and you're like, no, that's not what the people want. We're in Missoula. There's Missoula's finest. We are all but done with Montana. Not a lot of days left on the clock in June, which is more or less the month that we've dedicated to Montana. Wait, cross. Out here with Luna on a little stroll, exploring some uncharted territory. Anyway, we're all but done with Montana, but there's still a lot of time on the clock to be here. But I feel safe saying this is going to be a win. This is a win. It's already a win. This has been a very cool state. Lots of cool experiences. Lots of cool... I think they're cool for Luna. I don't know what she feels about them, but she may not understand the meta part of all of this, but she certainly appreciates the life she's being given. That much I know, because she reciprocates. I don't know how to explain that, but I want to show you this. Some of these places don't want you taking pictures or video, but I don't see a sign just yet, so I hope I'm not violating. It's like a chicken head. And I don't know, that's not, I thought it was like a horn at first, but that's way too big of a something. I mean, I guess it's a vase or a vase or something. Something like that. I feel like you gotta call that a vase. A vase you can get just about anywhere, but a vase, that's a piece of art, so it should have a different name anyway. Oh, there's some cool, I haven't seen any of these art galleries. Some alleyways. Anyway, I wanted to do it. So we've had a lot of experiences, a lot of firsts. Not only our first time in some of these places, but our first time in the state at all. Maybe that's not saying as much for Luna. She's only a few years old. I'll be 47 this year. That's a long time to go. Maybe it's not for everybody, but just in the spirit of travel and worldly experiences. Yeah, I say worldly, I don't mean like Europe or another country or anything like that. I just mean in the sense of, let's see how other people live. Let's open our minds a little bit and realize that, hold on, maybe we don't have it all figured out. That sort of worldly, cosmopolitan, like, hey, you're a part of a bigger thing. In that spirit, it's crazy to me that it took as long as it did to get here. So a lot of firsts, a lot of cool experiences, some stories, some cool people that we met and stuff like that. But no freaking internet. Like, it's available, but not for like uploading stuff or Wi-Fi, which I don't know. I'm really not happy with the Wi-Fi. Or not the Wi-Fi, but the cellular part of this this phone plan. Hey, come wait with me. Cross. I'm not very happy with it. I hate to say that because I don't know. We'll do it this way. There's certain things that it's customary to pay for in this day and age. That's a part of the current state of affairs that I can resolve. I can justify in my head. But if you're going to pay for it, I want to get it. A lot of things, products especially, and now even more and more services, like try getting a hold of your bank to get another card because a bear stole your wallet in Glacier National Park. See how long it takes. It's really not that hard. It's not that hard. I mean, effort-wise, it's not that hard. You might, let's cross. You might get a little bit of, you'll have to figure out how to use their stupid phone tree, and you'll have to find a new chord of patience that you're not used to exercising. A lot of us we can manage traffic, or we can manage loud noises in a city. Some of us don't have a big capacity to manage like inefficiencies, especially for something that you're paying for, and that's really almost backhanded. Like some things you don't need to pay for that. You don't have to have a cell phone or whatever, anything you can think of, streaming service or whatever. You don't have to have it, but some things are like, no, that's basically a utility at this point, and cell phone is one. Although I am talking about using it to upload data. This is going to get bleeped out now because it's Thriller, dude. It's going to get bleeped out because this was this is copyrighted music, but what a jam. So some things you got to pay for, some things but you need them to work. So it's almost like, I'll give you a perfect example. You can get a tripod for a camera for, you'd be surprised. Just like a basic one. Definitely not basic, but not doing anything like electronic or technical or anything where it's like moving. Well, you can get them pretty cheap, but you can pay a lot for them. You can pay for like, not quite movie quality and not quite consumer or prosumer, somewhere in the middle. You can find some mid-range options. I wonder if this park is open. This little park right here, I don't know the name of it. Of course, I'm not the name guy. Missoula. Give this place a dog's name and I'll commit it to memory automatically. I won't even have to try. Like it's not compulsive, but sort of, like automatic. But like Ellard Lee Carvered Park, I don't know who that is. That's a human's name. There's almost 8 billion of them, and they all fall grotesquely into the middle somewhere. So I'm not gonna be so impressed that somebody's got a park named after them that I'm going to automatically assume they're important enough for me to care about, whatever that means. I don't know, it sounds a little cynical. All I'm saying is I don't know the name of the park, but this one reminds me of Chattanooga for a lot of reasons. These are all store backs, like the service side. This is a city park. Yeah, we've got a bridge over here. This is a traffic, and you can't see it, so don't look for it too hard. But you've got it's a vehicular bridge, but it's shared with pedestrians and bikers. So it's a really good bridge, really wide bridge. I wish I had made a point of showing you, but before I forget, that road I was walking on at the beginning of this, that's like a 20-foot wide sidewalk in Missoula, Montana. You can't even spell the name of this place. I know you can't, unless you just guessed right, because you probably have not had a lot of orientation or, things that raise awareness to you. Yeah, we got some glass out here, Luna. 1, 2, 3. Ugh. That was kind of a fast count, but I do count 1, 2, 3 just so she's not startled when I yank her up, which I think is a very thoughtful and considerate deal to strike. that's the kind of stuff that I'm saying. I think she gets I feel confident that she appreciates it. And even when I'm carrying her, we stop and we wait for cross. And we say, good girl. Good girl. It's reinforcing that. So whether she's walking, whether she's on leash or off leash, and whether or not, whether or not I'm carrying her, we always do the same commands. We always do the same practices. And you know what's weird? It's not weird, but it's weird to see it play out. Like, remember the first time you did vinegar and baking soda and you made the volcano? You're like, I know of this. I've seen it. I've seen pictures of it or video of it or whatever, but doing it myself. So I know, having those little routines is going to make it easier for her to conduct herself in this world that was not built with dogs in mind. It's going to make her safer, which is going to make our relationship better, because I'm not worried about her as much, and there's fewer opportunities for me to say no, or sound. Like, there was some dogs at a park that we were at today, and those dogs were friendly, and they're just coming by and not intrusive, nothing threatening, like absolute just giant puppies, just completely chill dogs. But she gets food aggressive sometimes. Couple reasons. One, it's a good menu in the sense that she's got different options and she can request those options. And if it's not the sort of thing like where you say, yeah, sure, you can have it, whatever, to whatever extent, or she'll get full before her stomach bursts or something like that. If it's something that you can't just give on request, but you can come up with a game or do some commands or something, like a high value treat, I guess you would call it. Anyway, doing all those reinforcements it conditions her brain to think like, this is the good thing to do. And now it's just automatic. She wasn't always like an off-leash type of dog. I walked her off-leash a lot. She's almost always been off-leash since we got her, since she came home with us, with a lot of exceptions, but a lot of channels opened so that she could have. So we might go on a walk down Winsome Lane in Houston. She's hearing some booms now. They're either dropping some equipment or something. How are these lenses, man? I'm really good about wiping these things off, I feel like, but I don't make a lot of videos. I do, but I don't upload them. Not with the internet luck I've had. This is such a rambling diatribe. I really just want to show you the city. And this is the part that reminded me of Chattanooga. And I don't remember that park either, unless it's called Chattanooga City Park. It also has these things underneath, which the city of Missoula has this bridge that has the space, made for something. So in this case, it's parking. The big pedestrian bridge in Chattanooga has like just more park and stuff underneath its bridge, but one of the big automotive, I can't even think of the words I'm trying to say. It's frustrating. The bridge that's primarily for car traffic has a space like that underneath. So that's what's reminding me about of Chattanooga. This side over here reminds me of Bend, Oregon, which is in central, I think it's more like central eastern somewhere. Not like on a border necessarily, but definitely not dead center. Somewhere, and it's off of a pretty major highway or interstate, I think. But they've got a river just like this in Bend. Well, it's not just like this, but this reminds me of it a lot because it's definitely a considerable river. This one I don't even know. It's something. It's a weird name. It's two words, and the first word starts with a C. Cane Fork, something like that. Hey, baby. Come on, let me get you. All right, I'm gonna have to pick her up because she wants it. And she was already asleep, and I woke her up to. Let's make sure I'll turn that off. I woke her up to go for a walk. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. And that way, 1, 2, 3, and she knows she's coming up. So she doesn't have to panic or freak out or brace. You're just giving her not necessarily more control over her world, although I do believe that statement would be true if said. It's not like necessarily giving her the steering wheel on a car, but making it so that she understands that the steering wheel side of the car, this is not where I was going to go with it originally, but since I used that metaphor, I'm not talking about giving her control in the sense of letting her take the wheel of the car, but she does know to have respect for that side of the vehicle and everything. She'll never understand driving. I can't even understand how cars work, but she will, she will know that it's a place of, priority. I guess I don't want to say danger, not necessarily, but she couldn't be over there barking out the window at a dog in the car next to us, but she will, and that's when she doesn't get driver's seat privileges anymore. Yeah, we're pretty strict about stuff like that. Like, if we're on a long stretch of highway or something, or it's cold, she's welcome to sit in my lap. But if I'm having to reverse into a parking spot, or I'm looking for a road in a city we've never been in or something like that, or if there's an outside stimulation for her, like a dog in the car next to us, then yeah, it's more often than not a no-go. But so we're out here walking. I want to show you this city. I think it's really cool. I think this is a great way to kind of position ourselves on the edge of this state, getting ready for our launch into the next part of this journey. I don't know, that sounds a little overkill, but you know what I'm saying, right? And it's like a nice, chill way to round it off. It's nice and chill. There's not bad energy. It's not over. The vehicles are overwhelming. That might just be because I'm just old. But they are legitimately loud. Like mufflers and engines and stuff like that today, they're objectively loud. Like, it's not like the people that drive them say, "Oh, I don't hear nothing." It's loud for them too. It's just they that's a cool sound for them, for that group of people. Or maybe it's not, because it was a cool sound for me, except it wasn't really cool. That was just like a bit of look at this canopy, man. This is great. This is the kind of stuff that every city should have, including the limits on its size, because it's not that big of a place. Parking down here as well. This is the back of those stores that I kind of pointed to when we came down here, but this is another thing that reminds me of Chattanooga. Chattanooga is set up a little bit differently. These back of stores in Chattanooga are kind of like also a lot of shops of their own and main entrances. This one, I don't really see that, and I could take it or leave it, but that's just an observation. With some parking down here, and the street is up, right? We're up, you got to go up a modest grade. You got to probably go up 24 feet, I guess. So you've got that little walk, but lots of pedestrian stuff too. Lots of stairs. I guess it's just one set of stairs. Maybe there's two, maybe lots is not the way to describe it, but well placed and wide staircases, So yeah, a lot of cool things. This canopy, yeah. I really, really, really like those wide sidewalks. I know when I go to a place like New York or Los Angeles, when I go there, only been to those places once or twice. But the point is, when you go to a place like that and it's like really wide sidewalks, like you'll notice it in a flash of a second. It's just like, oh, this is new to me. I know I did. I still do think of it as new to have sidewalks that wide. And then when you go back to wherever you live, there's either those weird narrow neighborhood sidewalks or no sidewalk at all. Like there's places where my family lives in Tennessee where there's no sidewalk. You can walk to a few places, but you can't walk there because you'd just be walking on a road. And I don't know if you know how people drive, but you don't need to be sharing the lane. Like I don't even like walking Luna and Taco over there whenever we're hanging out because it's not good. It's not. Anyway, so you go back to your place wherever you live and you kind of have your like, well, okay, that's not the thing that we have, but we've got other things. Okay, that's not the point. The point is you should have it and you could have it because I'm sure your money is going somewhere less important, your tax dollars, whatever. Like this stuff here, I don't ride a bike. I don't like sharing lanes with bikes. I don't have a history of bad encounters with cyclists, and I have nothing ill to say of that group of people. But some of them can be a little thoughtless in their actions. Like, I don't want to say rude or inconsiderate. I don't want to say dangerous. I think inherently it's dangerous. If you're on anything that'll take you fast enough that if somebody were to hit you with a piece of, wood or something at that same speed while you were just standing up, if that's a risk that sort of action would incapacitate you, even if only momentarily, then it's inherently dangerous. If you had the whole road to yourself, but you're pedaling a bike at, I don't know what they go, 27, 30 miles an hour? I don't know. I guess a lot faster than that too. But if you had the road to yourself, there's still an element of danger. I mean, I've fallen off of those scooters and stuff, and I've been okay, but you're that's luck of the draw because you put yourself in a position where you realize, like, had this been better, had I landed this way, or had there been traffic, flowing in this direction, whatever, you can see how it could be worse. So yeah, you can take some pretty nasty falls. Anyway, but my point about the sidewalks, now these seem pretty common, but the sidewalks over, hold on now, let's get our bearing because we're coming back up off the river. Yeah, so yeah, maybe it's on that side. But they just seemed like, when I got here, they were really wide. Like big city wide. That's saying somebody's got some foresight or some forethought into some of this stuff. This is kind of a cool building. I don't know if you see those little glass tiles, but that's pretty cool. Oh, I think the color's changing too. Did I just notice that? The Missoula PD out sweeping the streets. Oh yeah, they're out in force. That's what's up. Yeah. Oh yeah, now it's blue. Okay, here we go. Cross. It says easy cross, and that's when you cross. And even when she's being carried, that's reinforced, which says, hey, that's not just for you, that's for me too. And it is, since I'm the one giving the command and I'm the one responsible for her safety and her well-being. It is for me too. I have to say all this stuff too, and I have to do it. Like, there's times that we get to a crossing, a pedestrian crossing of a proper street, with lights and timing and pedestrian priority and all that other stuff. There's times that we get there and the walk sign is already okaying your right of way, giving you the right of way, I guess is the way to say it. These aren't for me, but somebody's gonna want to see these. Just like little cards, but they're like pop-up cards. They're like, let me see, like they probably fold down flat, and then they kind of come open. It's goofy. And then look, I don't know that these are corresponding, although you see like, yeah, no, because that's like a German Shepherd or something, and that's more of like a lab back there. But these little cards, those are cool pictures. That's a well-framed picture. Look, they're daring with the headroom. I've been playing with headroom in my own little pictures that I never post myself, but yeah, I only really learned how to shoot in the sense that somebody knows something and you have to make an effort that you don't know, and you have to make an effort to learn it. You know, I shutterbug since I was a kid, or, you know, however I old enough to get a camera that I needed to be. Oh, that was cool. Here's a nice mural. I'm somewhere between random or unsolicited murals of graffiti art, stuff like that, and commissioned murals. There's some pretty cool murals, but I don't know. I'm never really sure which one I like more, but I'm seeing this over in the distance. I wonder if I can zoom in on that without bugging you out. It's like, it's a billboard or something, you know, it's basically advertisements. But I think I would like to see some art displayed like that. But like that, like we saw a tarp on the side of a wall. What city was that? Bozeman? Yeah, maybe so. Helena? No, it have to be Bozeman. It looked like a mural of a bear, but it was like a tarp, like stretched out, like a billboard sign, you know. But I don't really like that. That looked a little unrefined for what it was. Like if you're gonna get a printed picture, you gotta frame it properly. Those back there had frames. That's what I'm thinking about. How got some parking garages here. Oh yeah, I'm not getting turned around per se, but I'm not really paying attention. So this is Main Street. I think the next one's Broadway. Cross. A couple of cool like buildings. The courthouse. There's, I think, maybe like 2 churches. University of Montana is here. I don't know if this is just a branch or if this is, but it's definitely a college town. That's another thing. That's very cool. Chattanooga's a college town. College towns it's a good draw for a diverse set of people. So college towns are almost always a win in that regard. Some places where it's not that kind of college or university, or it's, you know, or maybe the town is built to prioritize something else. Maybe. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Cross. But the ones that I do know that I have liked, it's gonna have certain amenities, I guess is a word, or features that only college towns have. So that can be good. And this is pretty wide roads. I know when me and the boys went to, we went to Los Angeles, the boys came out there. That was the year that Diego graduated. And I flew to Houston for the ceremony, and then immediately after that day, or a day or two there maybe, it must have been the very next day at the latest, I I flew back to California, where Luna and I were at the time. Luna was staying with a friend, and then the boys didn't catch that flight because I guess they had some other things to do first. But maybe the very next day, like within 24 hours, they were flying out to California. And so we hung out there, and this looks like the little place. We got an Airbnb in LA for one night toward the end of the trip. And the street that we were on reminds me of this. This is probably a lot. What's a good word? Less trafficked? Yeah. But it's the same kind of setup as that one. So we were so we've walked up to these things and it's our turn to go, but we still stop anyway. And we've walked up to these things when it's not our time to go, but there's no traffic coming and we stop anyway. So I'm just saying that sort of repeating of the routine is important because it makes that a question. Cross. It makes that a question that she doesn't have to ask every time. She already knows the answer. We're coming up to the street, we stop. We don't cross until I say cross. So, we cross together. That was another one. Foolish mistake, however innocent. There's been some close calls with her lagging behind me in those crosswalks. And I take accountability for that because I don't like talking about it because, it's that's always a risk. That's always a risk. So I don't like worrying. And so, but when I was a little bit newer to walking her off leash and she was, even younger, it became evident a couple of times that, hey, you didn't make sure you're doing this right. So we do that. We do that all the time. So that way, when we get to the edge of the street, we'll stop every time. And we won't cross until I say cross every time. And we will cross together if she does lag behind. And that's the behavior that we had to correct for both of us. What happens is I just put her in the front. So she'll be in the front. And then that's like a sort of like, hey, that's not the kind of thing we slip up on. That's the thing that if we do it wrong one time, we're going to stop and do it right 5 times in a row to reinforce that. So we're coming up. It's a green light. We don't have a walking sign, a permission to walk sign, right? No traffic coming. Let's just imagine for a second that car didn't just pull out. We don't have the right-of-way, but our flow of traffic has the right-of-way. So logically, or logic, maybe not logically if it's wrong, but logic might tell you like, yeah, we're okay to do that. And then you'll go across it. Even though that command is there for a reason. Somebody's got a right-of-way into your area of use as a pedestrian. So see, now I know that light just turned green and that hand sign should have changed for us as well. It doesn't matter. We can cross now, but it takes 30 seconds at most. And that one goes across to get the right of way. And then just worst case scenario, if something did happen, the law is completely on your side because you weren't ignoring any of the clearly formatted signals as to what to do. Oh, there's Jimmy John's. So here's another thing about this little spot. Now this isn't quite like Montrose or I don't know, Washington in Houston. Yeah, it's really not. Yeah, it's not. See what I'm saying? Like Houston has University of Houston. But Houston's not a college town. It's got a few universities, but it's not a college town. And the campus is kind of like its own thing over there. You drive to it. Maybe if you're a student living in a dorm, then you don't drive, but for the most part, Houston's always going to be a commuter city. And so you're going to, and they put rail through there, and there's buses, and there's a big transit center. There's a couple of transit centers right around there in that area. But it's not a college town. Austin is a college town, and it's grown a whole lot since maybe some of that has changed in a sense over the years. But that college is smack in the middle of downtown. And everybody goes there. And you're either a student living on campus or very near campus, which means that is your neighborhood, or you commute from out of that area, and it's you're just adding to the population. But that's a very robust city nowadays. It's not slow or cross or backwards, anything like that. I'm saying that because it's going to sound like I'm saying it's in my head when I say it sounds smaller than Houston, in the sense that why I was explaining Houston's not a college town. No idea what I'm talking about, by the way. Absolutely no idea. I know what I'm saying. I know how to finish the sentences. But so anyway, this has a lot of cool, unique. I've only seen them here before stores, but they're healthy. They look healthy. This one right here, Plonk. I meant to show you the menu earlier. I walked on the wrong side of the road, I think, maybe we did pass it. But anyway, somebody recommended it. I just asked if there's any late night food joints. This one, and she said, it's a little on the pricey side, but the food's really good. So we happened to be right here when we started walking. I was like, I'll be doggone. Or I'll be damned. That is we weren't looking for it. We just happened to park right next to it. And so I was like, all right, cool. We get to see the menu, because when she said it's pricey, I was like, oh, well, what's pricey? Because we've been in national parks. I mean, we're not eating there because $25 for a cheeseburger, that's pricey. That's a lot. This is more than that, though. This is more than that even. Like when you start seeing food menu items that say market price, or if the menu doesn't have like cents, like everything's written in dollars and there's no dollar sign, like it's just the number 48 for a cut of steak or something like that, meaning $48, then you know where they're starting, right? So that's not a nod or a shun. I know nothing about this restaurant, but it was just serendipitous that we parked right by it, and that's the first place we walked. As a matter of fact, I saw the sign. It's a little neon sign back there. Maybe you can see it in the crowd. I saw the sign, and then we started to walk over there, and then I saw somebody standing outside. I was like, oh, that's the entrance. We actually stopped at a burrito place earlier, and what I thought was the back door was the main door, because it's kind of like in an alley or something similar for this. So I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe that's, I mean, she said it was a bar. That looks kind of like a bar setup. We walked over there, and there was a person standing outside. And so I knew that, okay, it's live, it's active. She did say it's open late at night. And so as I got closer, I realized, like, yeah, but there's nothing else. These are all utility boxes back here. So clearly that's the back. And I asked the lady that was standing out there if that was the back, and she said, yeah. So we just walked around the front of this building, which has like those, 18-foot wide sidewalks that are just like a pedestrian dream come true. And, it's a more obvious opening. It's on that road, and they've got outdoor seating. I can't imagine eating outside on a road like that. I can barely be on that road myself with headphones on in my own car. Like that's just it's not insane to see it these days, but that doesn't mean it's healthy. It is pretty chaotic though. But we had to look at the menu, and I did want to show you, and just to, because it's not the price for me. I'm not eating there, not right now. That's not. I'm not spending that kind of money to just, get all highfalutin like that. Excuse me while I put these on. I'm tired of carrying them. But it has less to do with the prices on that menu as for why I pass on places like that generally, and more for like what's on the menu. I'm not even saying portion size either, although I do feel a little slighted. If you could pay $25 for a 6-ounce burger in a national park, then people feel very comfortable just throwing a price on something without the consideration of the value to the customer. I'm sure a lot of it's exceptional in quality and whatever else. Yeah, never mind the road. Can you imagine eating outside with that going on? Yeah, but it's also things like when they say like, oh, we make our own aioli. As soon as I see aioli, I'm like, it does not appeal to me. I don't care that you can make it. I mean, some of it's good, but it really just tastes like some of them that I've tasted are just kind of like, I don't know, maybe a little more oil than I like, or fat content. And I eat fat. It's not that, but maybe it's not the kind that I like, or maybe it almost all the time it's like a seasoning. Like, and like a seasoning becomes ubiquitous, like Cajun seasoning, and the flavor will vary and their application might vary a little bit, but more or less exactly what you're going to get. Yeah, sometimes those things don't work. So if they say like Chipotle, try our spicy Chipotle. Chipotle is not spicy. Chipotle is smoky. And in that sense, anything that you put it in is going to taste like smoke. You put Chipotle on chicken, it's going to taste like Chipotle. You put Chipotle in your beans, they're going to taste like Chipotle. Like Chipotle just covers it. It's like a masking. Unless you like it. And if you like it, fine. But for the most part, it's like as soon as I taste something, if there's Chipotle anywhere in it, on the chip, on the dip, sprinkled on the fries or in the eggs or something, that's all I can taste, It's like putting on a set of red glasses and now everything looks red. You can see kind of like scale variation, but everything is red tinted. That's how Chipotle does. Anyway, it's more about coming up with like weird stuff like that. It's like, man, if I'm paying $50 for something, I want to know already that I'm gonna like it, if that makes sense. What a rambling fiasco that was. What am I looking at here? 45 minutes? No, bro. I gotta stop doing this. Y'all are gonna start charging me for therapy. That's pretty cool. It's not great. I'm not gonna write home about it. But when I see something like that, what I'm thinking, and that is cool, by the way. But when I see it, it makes me think like, oh, what if they had made that like a whale breaching or something like that? Because when I saw it in that posture, because it's like the 50th anniversary of Jaws or something. When I saw it in that posture, my head immediately went to Jaws. And then the boat, oh crap, what's the name of it? I know the name of the boat too. That's gonna frustrate me. I just watched something on it. Remember him telling the story about the USS Indianapolis or whatever, that sometime after they dropped the atomic weapons, I don't know, a couple of torpedoes took them out and the ship sank, and basically everybody was out in the ballards. Or bollards? Oh, these are pretty dumpy. Why is it so loose? I love my country, man. But some of these things, it's like you see it and you're like, I just know I can think of 5 countries off the top of my head that would not let that pass. Why do we let that pass? I'm not saying everybody has it, does things perfectly, that any place is necessarily like objectively better for everybody across the board. I guess some places are obviously more preferable than not. But as far as you want like a loose sort of agenda, or a very strict agenda, you've got a spectrum of cultural styles to choose from. So, it's not to say that everybody's like doing things better, but some things are just like, like these are perfectly fine, perfectly functional, strong, solid, stable, serve their purpose well, serve a couple of purposes well. Obviously, it's a steady assistant for guiding up a set of stairs, especially if you need it. And it's wide, and it kind of makes a partition so that there can be more than one flow of traffic, reasonably. But they're so plain. And I feel like if this was 1950, those would be really ornate. These have a little bit more design, I suppose, at least a few more geometric spaces in there that don't necessarily have to be there, so they put them in there as an option. That's good. That's a step up. But like, look at this bike rack. What's the difference between a bike rack and that? And I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying, like, it could be done better. That's what I was going back to my cell phone situation. It's like they have the technology to make it exceptional, but they're not putting, man, these cops are creeping, dude. They're not putting the priority on that. Like, they could take it or leave it. I don't know if that sounds like a criticism or not. It's not meant to be, but it's just like things used to be so decorative and ornamental and like really good too. Like, not just like, let's throw some gargoyles on there. No, like it went all out and did some real stuff. And now it's just like, we'll make more money if we take that option out. And then you take out every possible option that is not integral to the structure itself. Everything. Like, I've walked through brand new apartments where you can hear the people on the other side of the wall that separates the hallway from their apartment. Like, you can hear them like they're in the room with you. I'm like, man, it doesn't matter how much it costs either. It's for what you're getting or for what you're paying. You should expect a little bit more than that. I feel like, you still have your basic visual privacy and some security and stuff like that. Although I'm sure it probably wouldn't take much to get through a wall like that. I'm not saying anyone would, but it's just not very strong materials, which is kind of crazy. It's like, makes you wonder, like, does nobody else see this? See what's going on here? And, the messed up thing is that they do. It would be messed up either way, though. Either they do, and they're also staying silent about it, or they don't because they've been numbed by so much consumer and product distributing that that they honestly don't see it. You know, like when all somebody eats is like salt and fat, and then they can't taste an apple anymore because like their whole diet is just consisted of like, you know, high saturated, flavored and seasoned foods. No judgment if that's what you're into, but then you do that and then it's like people, and then they don't even know what to do with a stalk of celery when they see it, and they sure as hell ain't gonna eat it. Anyway, I think that's about it. This is a whole other video that's probably never gonna go anywhere because it's impossible to upload anything. This is a cool spot though. This is a cool spot. Where was that place, Luna, where we saw the... Anyway, yeah, that's probably a wrap. Probably taking up enough space on the internet. Walking all day too, and I love it. We walked last night when we got here. We walked first thing this morning. We walked all afternoon. I spent a long time trying to edit some things or upload some things, and wound up being something of a waste of time, kind of a even break, I guess. But yeah, sweet. We met some folks today. We saw a dog first. That's what I was talking about. Luna barking at all these dogs because she's got good food in there and she don't want to share it. And they're cool dogs. And the one was hanging out by our vehicle for a while. And yeah, I was sharing some treats, and Luna wasn't too happy about that, but she ain't missing any meals, you heard? So she's doing all right. Anyway, so we, you know, I wound up chatting with the human, and we had a nice little interaction there, but I think they might be our neighbors. Can I tell you something? Let's cross this little grassy knoll. Look at this, has a boulevard. Now, the ones in Buffalo are a little bit different than this. This is not great, obviously, because it's nighttime. We're just using street lights. And it is a dark street, to its credit. I love that. But it does remind me of some of Buffalo. A little bit of different layout, but to just be walking New Orleans, too. That's where the streetcars run in New Orleans, down these boulevards or these medians or whatever you call them, these knolls. Man, that's a cool spot to see. If you've never been somewhere that you think is cool, go to New Orleans. You know, it may not be your forever city, but you can't go to New Orleans and not have a good time, you know. Because I used to go back in my drinking days and socializing days and thanks. 53 minutes, something like that. I used to go, I went to New Orleans a couple times, you know, when I was a very different version of myself. Oh, this is probably too close, huh? And let's see how well that does for the last couple minutes. And I've gone back recently as this sort of whatever this episode is called, you know, man and dog see the world, or at least the United States. And both times I, you know, or both of those versions, I was able to have a good time. So they have those medians too. What I wanted to show you as we pulled up, and I realized let me see how dark it is. It's so quiet too. It's a dark street. There are street lights. They're spread out. What I think is a rational spacing for street lights. I could see somebody a little more passionate about it, saying no, we need more street lights because of this or that. But if you're blind, just don't drive anyway. You know, that's what I feel about those headlights nowadays too. I'm like, man, if you need that much light to see, you don't need to be driving at night. Simple and plain. It's just like that. Because if you're that unable to see in low light situations, that you have to make it like, you know, the center of the sun in order to function safely on the road, that's already not safe. Just stay home. Call a DoorDash or, you know, Instacart or whatever. Have the stuff that you need home brought to your home, because I don't fancy sharing the road with people who aren't playing with a full range of their facilities, you know, that are needed to conduct a car safely, if that makes any sense. Long-winded way to say this is nice. But we're also parked under a tree, a very large tree. Bit of a heartbreak this morning. They were cutting down a tree at the corner of this street that I'm on. Well, another block down, but just right up the way. Like, I could see the vehicles pull up, and I could see the utility personnel getting their equipment set up and everything like that. And then by the time we started rolling after our little morning walk, you could see that they were chopping that tree down piece by piece. I was like, oh, what a bummer, dude. That'll leave a bad taste in your mouth. Because now it just looks different. You know, like when your dad shaves his beard for the first time, you're like, no, this is going to take a while to get used to. Had I come here and the tree was already gone, I would have thought nothing of it. But since I saw the tree and I see how much cover these trees provide, and I saw that tree and now it's gone, that's kind of like that's not cool. That's really not cool. And it is a tree, and it will grow back. It won't be that big in my lifetime though, or most of yours. And it's taken so long to grow to that size. You're like, oh man, it's like a whole epoch. Just like when a tectonic plate moves and a mountain just slides underneath another plate, and it's just like there was a whole range, there was a whole vista there, and now it's gone. It's changed forever. You'll never see that thing again. That's wild. So that's kind of how I felt about the tree. But most of these trees on this block look like they're at no risk of being cut down. I thought that one might have been for utility lines, but nah, they took it all the way down. Maybe it was poisoned or diseased or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. It's just a shame. But most of these trees are just exceptional. New Orleans also has big trees. There's a lot of places with big trees, but New Orleans has these sorts of boulevards. They're just a little more active. I have the very good fortune of being on a street that's this substantial and it being like dead quiet. That is good fortune too. I do not take that for granted. You know, sit here, have a little something to eat, maybe play on the phone, maybe put on some music, maybe I could journal or something like that. I was going to say maybe try to upload something, but it's just not panning out. I'm going to have to be somewhere with my own internet, my own dedicated internet, if you know what I'm saying. But these trees are a great escape from the direct nuclear effect of our home star, the sun, as we call it. 75, 80 degrees under a big tree like this, all or most of the day, at least the part of the day when it is that hot, versus 75, 80 degrees on the side of the road in a blanket of concrete and a sea of concrete with no sort of cover from direct influence of the sun. You're climbing into two very different cars. So this is nice. So we parked it here the first part of the day, just to keep it out of the sun, and it's wonderful. So that's it. That's all I have to say. Just that little bit. And thank you for lending your ear. I apologize for the rambling and for what I'm sure here in the last 5 minutes, more or less, has been an obstructed view, because I'm just now realizing that I didn't bring that down. Maybe you could see fine, but this is not good. It's not good lighting. It's not good camera setup, and this one here is going to require more and more of my physical presence until I no longer have a free thumb to do anything with. So this is about as good as it's going to get for tonight. I'm going to have some decaffeinated instant coffee. I don't know what to tell you. It works. It works, and it's available, and it's inexpensive, and it's pretty good. It doesn't taste like what you thought of instant coffee tasting like back in the day, which for me would have been like the 80s, you know, when instant coffee was a very distinct and maybe not necessarily universally palatable flavor of coffee. You know, almost tasted like, I don't know, but I've drank that too, and I will, especially if I've got sweetener. But this is already an hour. It's supposed to be done. Okay. Anyway, and now I'm about to run out of power. Thanks for joining me. And so long and good night from Missoula, Montana. Peace out.